Good morning, class. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me share my screen. 1 minute. My screen is visible, students. My screen is visible. Screen is visible, students.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Give it 1 minute. Yeah. In the last class, we had seen the DSS models. So we'll just continue from that particular point. And even in the last class, we had seen the business intelligence. What is business intelligence, and the various tools available for carrying out business intelligence. I think we had seen till this particular point, and even the online analytical processing we had seen, and the basic operations involved in the online analytical operations, or sorry, processing. So we had discussed with the consolidation, drill down, and even slicing and dicing. Okay. So 1 minute. So moving next. So next is we discuss about management information system, how MIS will be helping for the decision support system. So that was looked and discussed in the previous class. Now it is geographic information system. Yeah. So the decision support system, it uses even the geographic databases to construct and display maps. So depending upon the various applications for which we are designing and developing the decision support system, it becomes mandatory that the relevant database is used, because the data is important for the decision support system. Okay. So when it comes to geographic information system, the name itself indicates geographic information system. So it could be the data which is stored in the database with respect to various geographical locations, or it could be the spatial attributes, or spatio-temporal attributes, where even the time is also recorded, and even the location, okay, with respect to lat and long coordinates, even that can also be recorded. Okay. So DSS uses geographic database to construct and display maps and other graphic displays. So it's important, some for some applications, the maps are very crucial. Okay, they, without maps, nothing can be done, or the application will not deliver its service. So maps are important, and how the maps can be visualized, whether it is in two-dimensional or third dimension, depending upon the various terrains. So we call it as generally terrains. Okay, so terrains are nothing but the surface of the earth. If it is flat, then the similar kind of the location, geographic location should be projected in the simulation software or in the maps. And similarly, if the location or the area, geographical area is hilly region, then according to that, the same thing should be visualized even in the maps as well. The hilly regions, the the watery region, and so many other things. So if you have observed in the maps, okay, in your atlas, have you heard of atlas? Okay. We used to use extensively when we were in the schools. In fact, even you people also, right? So you can see that how nice they will generally use color codes or color conventions to identify the land area, water area, and greenery or forest area. So it is used very aptly. So displaying maps is also important and support decisions affecting the geographic distribution of people and other resources. So definitely this the decisions which is being taken by the system, it affects what? Geographic distribution of people and other resources. So it's not necessary that the decision support system which is developed should make decisions very specifically, so it depends even to which particular region the decision system is being applied. So it varies with respect to locations as well. See, since in places where there's a lot of humid content, we cannot take a decision of increasing the temperature of some system or some setup, right? Because already the external temperature or the external climate itself is generating a lot of heat. So there are so many other factors which can be taken into consideration depending upon distribution of people and other resources, and often used with GPS. We all know GPS, global positioning system devices. So GPS is widely used now. It is embedded within various devices. Definitely it is there in our one handy device which is mobile, okay, GPS. So it's left to the user whether we will enable the GPS or disable it. And definitely when we try using some applications which require our location tracking ability, then if it has been disabled, then the we get a pop-up message saying that the location services or location tracking services are disabled, kindly turn it on, right? So it is again application based. Data visualization system, yeah. So it's not sufficient that we have to only collect the data. How well we present, how well we make it pleasing to the client or to the person to whom we are presenting, that also matters a lot. Because all the data it'll generally be in the tabular format, right? So we all know that it is in terms of rows and columns. So nobody will like if the data is presented in the Excel sheet which comprises of millions and millions of records, right? And nobody have the time also to go through those millions of records. But had it been a case where those millions or trillions of records are projected or are displayed in a very graphical manner, maybe it could be a pie chart with beautiful colors, or it could be with respect to graph, bar graph or line graph, depending upon what kind of data we are handling. Okay, so the in fact we can see the trend line also, whether the the important parameters or the affecting parameters or the dependent variables are improving consistently, or whether they are declining as well. So many things can be inferred based on visualization, right? So data visualization is very important. In fact, data analytics or data scientist or data analyst people who are designated with such designations, they generally work upon this, okay? And the very widely used tools, like as I was discussing in the previous class, the Tableau tool, or it could be the Power BI, Power Business Intelligence tool. Those can be used to represent the data in the form of visualization, very good visualization, Okay, and some tools, especially they even integrate it with Python as well, Python IDE or R language IDE as well, so that you can get the statistics observation or statistic values for the data as well. So you need not again browse through a separate IDE or separate window. Everything has been integrated in the one data analytic tool. Okay. So it represents complex data using interactive three-dimensional graphical forms, that is definitely charts, graph and map, and helps users interactively sort, subdivide, combine and organize data while it is in its graphical form. Okay. So even the Excel, okay, how many of you have used Excel, students? How many of you have used Excel, Microsoft Excel? Yes, students. How many of you have used MS Excel? Nobody?
Used,
How many
ma'am.
of you are present in the class? Out of 16 students, okay, Smita, she has raised her hand. Okay, so Smita, can you tell what are the features, what you have seen or what you have explored in MS Excel? Unmute and tell me what are the features what you have seen or explored in Excel. For what reason or for what purpose have you used Excel?
Spreadsheets, ma'am.
Spreadsheet. Okay, what kind of operations you have done or functionality you have done?
Like creating tables.
Sorry? Just creating an Excel sheet. That's it. I mean spreadsheet. That's it. Hmm? See, with Excel also we can in fact, I'll just show you one Excel, 1 minute. Just wait. Yeah. So if I open one application, Excel application on my system, give me 1 minute, I'll just share the screen. So apart from our regular usage in the Excel, there are so many other options available. Okay, it's taking some time. I don't know. Yeah, got it. So can you see the Excel sheet here? The application what I have opened in on my system, all of you? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So you can see here you have a lot of options available for you. If you want to format the cells conditionally on some conditions, then you can do that. Then at the same time you have this option called as sort and filter, which are where automatically the sorting is can be done either from ascending to descending or descending to ascending, the whichever way we want. In fact, even we can even filter out only the cells what we require, even that can be done. So this filtering is nothing but the the concept of data slicing what we saw yesterday, right? So even this is there, and in fact if you see this top ribbon here, you have so many options. Okay, apart from the normal options, based on the few add-ins what you can embed within your Excel, you have something called as power pivot. Okay, this is very important add-ins available in MS Excel. So you can see here You can create a data model, you can add a data model to the existing data. You can detect any relationship exists between the data or not. You can find out the key performance indicators of the data model, even that a feature is available. You can in fact measure few of the parameters. For example, if you say manage measures here, if I have to, okay, I think it went somewhere. So if I say new measure I have to create, for the data, then it'll automatically ask, yeah, for that definitely a model should be created. So it's showing me a pop-up message saying that you do not have a model or the model is empty. Cannot create and manage measures. So if you have a data model, okay, then you can do lot many operations. At the same time, you have something called as inquire tab. Okay, you can just check on your laptop or on your desktop if you have Excel application. Even this inquire also, look here, you can in fact carry out the analysis of the entire workbook. Okay, that application is also there, or that feature is available to you. Similarly, you have workbook relationship. If you have many worksheets, then you can find out the relationship between each other. And in fact, you can do coding also in the Excel. Okay, how many of you are familiar with this particular concept? You can in fact write small codes in the Excel, and you can embed it, and it is called as macro. You can run your own macro in Excel. Okay, there are so many features available. And when you come even for the data tab, look here, you have something called as what if analysis. Okay, so for the data or for one particular parameter which is represented in the form of column, you can in fact carry out what if analysis. Okay, where for that particular parameter, if certain values are changed, what is the outcome, or how does it affect. So that can be analyzed here. So what if analysis is there. You can group some of the data, you can ungroup some of the data, you can create some subtotal as well. So again, you can see here when I project the subtotal, it gives me explanation like quickly calculate rows of related data by inserting subtotals and totals, right? And you can see here, even you can get some external data as well. Look here, you can get or you can import external data from either Microsoft Access or directly from the web or from any text or from any other sources, or some existing database connections as well, right? And you can in fact even query the database. Look here, you can query the database, either it can be from file. When you say from file, again you get so many options. From database also you get so many options. From Azure, from the cloud, again you get so many other options. So there are a lot of options available in your Excel itself. So data analytics can be done using your Excel. Okay, definitely some add-ons are required. Okay, so if you are interested, you can explore further. Okay, students. Yeah, so we'll just move further. Next. Yeah, so using decision support system. So definitely the decision support system involves an interactive analytical modeling process. Okay, because we need to get the analytics insights, and modeling is required. So it is definitely interactive. So depending upon it should be like, if we make any changes in the model, then it should be reflected even in the analysis as well. So it's like interactive. So decision makers are not demanding pre-specified information, and they are exploring what possible alternatives. So when you get some data with you, very huge data, you will have a lot of opportunities to play with the data. You can make any one of the parameters as independent or dependent, and you can try how each of the column is related to each other. Okay, you can get a lot of inferences in fact. So what if analysis I was just discussing now. This is to observe how changes to selected variables affect other variables, right? So what if one particular variable or parameter is changed, how it is going to affect the other parameters. So next is sensitivity analysis. So observing how repeated changes to a single variable affect other variables. So if you repeatedly get less IA marks, definitely your final CGPA will be affected, right? So this is called a sensitivity analysis. Okay, one simple example to quote here. Next is goal seeking analysis, making repeated changes to selected variables until a chosen variable reaches a target value. Okay. So it is like to best example to quote here is you keep putting lot of effort from your end, keep enhancing or keep seeing to it that your IA marks are improved until what? Until you become the topper of the class, or consistently you secure FCD. Okay, something like that. So that is goal seeking analysis and optimization analysis. So we were discussing this also, optimization problem. So it is something like you have to optimize either any one of the value, either you have to maximize or minimize. So that is called as optimization problem, and analysis can be carried out based on optimization as well. So finding an optimum value for selected variables given certain constraints. So if I have to take one example, the traveling salesman problem. So what are the selected variables there? Here the salesperson should visit all the cities, right? And what are the constraint given there? He should visit all the cities, or he should complete his tour so that the total cost is minimum, right? So that is the condition given. And the best route what the salesperson will choose is the optimum path, right? So that is optimization analysis. So next is data mining. So yeah, can anyone tell what is data mining? In fact, your other half of your friends, they have taken this particular professional elective. So tell me what exactly you know about data mining, students. Any one of you? Hmm? What is data mining, students? Students, what is data mining? Tell me, what is data mining? Nobody is there in the meeting. Yeah, 16 students. Tell me, what is data mining according to you? What is mining generally? All of you would have seen the movie, right? KGF. Seen or not? Yes or no, students? Yes, no. No response from your end. At least unmute and speak. No, I cannot go back and check
Yes,
your
ma'am.
messages. Yeah. So what was the movie all about? The mining, right? Mining. So what is mining there in the movie? It was ore mining, right? Correct? So it was ore mining. So similarly, if I say data mining, then what are you mining? Mining for? It is for data, right? So you look for some interesting patterns, some some relationship between the data, so that you will be extracting only that particular part, right? So that is called as data mining. And definitely it provides what? Decision support through knowledge discovery. So when we say data mining, the knowledge discovery process becomes important. Okay, knowledge discovery process, or it is also called as knowledge discovery database or knowledge discovery architecture. Okay, so those patterns will lead to some knowledge. Okay, so it analyzes vast stores of historical business data, looks for patterns, trends and correlations. Goal is to improve business performance. Okay, in fact in data mining you will there are so many concepts what you learn with respect to data, whether is there any similarity between the data what you have extracted, if it is similar, to what extent they are similar. Okay, and if we represent all the data as points, or we plot the data as points over the in the graph, then what is the distance between each of the points which is being plotted. Okay, so that distance calculation you can do using either Manhattan distance or Euclidean distance, and you can infer something. Similarly, how correlated the two different patterns are, that can be examined or observed. And similarly, the correlation value, you people might be knowing that it will generally fall only between, the correlation value can be either 0 or +1 or -1, right? So it can take only these three values, 0, 1 and -1. So it's important like how the data is correlated, or what sort of relationship they have, whether they are tightly coupled or loosely coupled, whether they have any dependency, whether they are related to each other, and if they are related, how they are related. Can we define an equation for the relation of the data? So many things comes into picture, right? So even though you have data in terms of characters, okay, you can still form or formulate an equation. Okay, so this is what is data mining all about. Okay, so here with respect to the subject, it is the goal is what, to improve the business performance, right? And various types of analysis can be performed. It could be either the regression method or the decision tree, neural network, cluster detection, and market basket analysis. Okay, so regression, yes, to some extent you people know what is regression, correct? So it is like based on one variable value you determine the other, right? And you then find out whether any relationship exists or not, right? So that relationship can be directly proportional, or it can be inversely proportional. So that is the inference based on regression. And again, in regression you have different types: linear, multiple regression, and so many other variations. When it comes to decision tree, it is like you classify the data based on the outcome, whether it is like 0 or 1 kind of. So if it is if the final conclusion is 0 or true or false, then that particular data fits towards the left child or something, left side of the decision tree. Or if the data is false or it is equal to 1, then it is it's part of right child. Okay, so it is like a decision tree. You make a decision for each and every node, or for each and every record, in fact. Okay, so that is how you build a decision tree. And a neural network, yes, you have so many hidden layers in the network. Okay, and each of the layer is built using neurons. Okay, just the way how the human being brain comprises of lot many neurons, and those neurons get stimulated within the human being when we see something, when we recognize one object, or when we recognize one person. We will automatically the neurons get stimulated, and will inform us that yes, I know this person, and this person is XYZ or ABC, right? So something similar to that. Even the data can be visualized in terms of neural networks, or data can be interpreted as neurons. Okay, so and how the information is related between these neurons, and what is the feedback each and every hidden neuron will give to, or will propagate it to the next level. So that is neural network. And what is cluster detection? Cluster detection, see now whenever we give you an option of choosing the elective, what you do, either you choose one elective, okay, elective A or elective B, right? So students who choose elective A fall in one category or one cluster. Students who choose elective B, they fall in another cluster or another group. So this is cluster. So depending, okay, I have one random data entered into my database. I have to place it in the appropriate cluster, to which particular cluster it belongs to. So I have